This is what I'm using today. HASSELBLAD 500CM. I've had this camera 9 years, I think, then got it in 2015. Back when I was a hipster that shot a lot of film. I think I remember when I bought it, I looked at the serial numbers, and I think the camera body itself is from 1981, and the lens is from 1979, I think, so pretty old. I'm down in Weymouth today, shooting a roll of film. I'm not new to shooting film, but I've not done it for a while. I finished a roll earlier this year in Devon. Took the last couple photos on the roll, and that was one that I started in the Lake District 4 years ago. So since I got into wildlife more, film is not something I've really done a lot of. It's hecka bright today, which isn't useful when you're shooting on 400 speed film. Got my little light meter. I used to use the smartphone app, but this is just a lot easier. It's a Conic twin mate. So at the moment, ISO 400, it's basically Sunny 16, so 400 speed film. I don't have a shutter speed of 400, it's 250 or 500. So if you go for 250 and overexpose it slightly. One advantage though is that I can use the focus indicators on the HASSELBLAD, which means my focus doesn't need to be as critical. So if I focus, say I find a subject which is, I think is 6 meters away, as long as that 6 on this scale, which is obviously between the 5 and the 7, is inside those red lines, if you can see it, it should be in focus. But if I put my infinity symbol just inside the right hand red indicator, f16, it means that everything from about 4 meters to infinity is in focus. So effectively I can get away without focusing today. Let's have a look around. One good thing about it being a really bright day is that the light basically just doesn't change. So you take a meter reading when you first get here, provided it doesn't cloud over and you're not here for hours, you don't really have to worry about your shutter speed changing with your aperture. So if I set f16 at 250 of a second, and I set my hyperfocal distance, I can essentially just walk around and not really have to worry about changing anything. I can just point and press the shutter. Well, we'll find out how true that is when I get my photos back, but should be pretty simple. I think what I need to do is time it perfectly so that there's maybe a cyclist going through the arch. Particularly like a pedestrian, but there's no path that side, so. But the light is different in here obviously, so in order to get a sensible exposure, wow, yeah, it's very dark. I need to go to a 60th of a second. And focus is going to be a bit more critical. Got it.
Close the tank.
Never tried that before. Shooting from the hip without focusing, with the viewfinder shut. I think I'll post the photo over that, however it comes out. Just for more of an experiment than anything. The only problem with shooting film cameras like the Vlad, they're not exactly quiet. With a digital mirrorless camera, you can obviously just take a picture and no one's none the wiser. No one's none the wiser. Nobody's the wiser. Whereas with a chunky camera like this, or even worse, like an RB67, take a picture and everyone turns around. So you can't really do it very sneakily. Not that I really do it sneakily, because that makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. But kind of like that boat down there, but I don't really think I can get a photo of it without falling in the water. I know. I've got the 80. I've also got a 150mm lens. This one I do not use much, so it'd be nice to use this one. There we go. F16 1/25. This guy here does a ferry service across the harbour. I remember getting that probably like 20 years ago with my parents. They used to charge, I think, 50p a person or £1 a person. Oh, £2 now. Inflation. Not a job I'd want to do all day every day though. I'm just going to go nuts when I share that dog on the video. It's exactly the kind of dog we'd have. A ladybird. That looks quite nice. Got this long staircase with a bit of soft light at the top. I think if I can frame it sort of like that and get someone walking down it, that'd be really cool. Because this is an incident meter, I need to expose actually where the light is, because it's not a spot meter. So I need to come up here. If I use the meter where I was, I'd be exposing for the shadows. And this would be really exposed, whereas I want this exposed and then all of this down the bottom to be underexposed and in shadow. So that's f8 at 1/25. Although I'm not sure I've seen anyone walk up and down here, so I might be waiting a while. But with the magic of YouTube, I can edit out all of that waiting for you. What I'm trying to do is get a picture of one of these rowing boats through this hole in the chair. I have no idea if it's going to look good at the end, but I'm trying to be less obvious with my photography. Hey look, little birds. What are they? Oh wow, they're turnstones. I love these birds. I mean, you can't see them because it's too far away. A little pipit. Awesome. Ah, this is cool. So that was good timing because I've got to the end of my roll of film just as I got to the end of the pier. I'll make sure I put all 12 photos up so you can see which ones are good and which ones are not so good. I'll have to shoot more film because I've really enjoyed this. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. And I'll see you next time.